Do bad people deserve bad things? I'm a firm believer that people are only bad because they never knew any different. I guess I kind of disagree with that. I think some people can do bad things on purpose. I don't know if anyone deserves bad things. They might be bad because they've never had the good things. They might be. Let's start from the hypothesis that people can do bad things and can be bad, but people don't deserve good people. They can have any things they want. So I guess the point is, should we punish people for being bad? And I think that's like a hard question. I mean, it is not hard for me because I made up my mind about it. I think they need to be taught, not punished. Yeah, after taking child psychology, it really changed my feeling about a lot of things. Yeah, I get that. But like, I feel like a lot of people have like this stance of like, rapists should get their balls cut off, or that rapists should get raped, or stuff like this. And I do not know if people are serious sometimes about the things they say. Because sometimes people just say things hyperbolically that they don't actually believe. You know, when you ask them to, if you'd ask them like, yeah, sign the law that makes like that will end up in raping the rapists, and I'm like, all right. I don't know if people who say stuff like that would actually sign the law. They might not, but people do say that, and I don't think it helps. Although I do think rape is so wrong. Yeah, we are true. But people who rape have been sexually assaulted before or as children and don't even know any different. They do not understand the severity. Two wrongs don't make a right. See, but those two things, like, I do mean the question. I do want the question to be: do bad people deserve bad things? Like, even if we take the concept of this person did know it was bad, did know it hurt people, maybe they're discounting the value of the person they did it to, but in general, like, if they weren't, they had no like reason or whatever, they just did a bad thing, that do they deserve bad things happening to them? So you're saying we have tried to help someone bad and they keep being bad? No. I say there are no attenuating circumstances for this person to have done what they have done. They just did it. Because of some reason. Whatever. Still, some people are fatally broken. And we don't know how to fix them yet. They should be isolated anyway. It's always a punishment, no matter the details. That's a good point. I shut my brain off and just say yes, bad people deserve bad things. Why? Face consequences for their actions, at least. Yes. Why? I don't want you to shut your brain off. Right, that's the opposite of what I want to do. I want to hear your takes before I give you my takes. I guess more of a karma thing. You give bad, you get bad in return. You give good, then you get good in return. What does it accomplish? I wish it worked that way. I guess the argument she's making is we should punish them so it does work that way. But also, why do you wish it worked that way? I feel like it does. For some, it's harder to see the good or bad though. Some time ago, I decided that the only argument I can make for morality, to base morality off of, is to avoid pain. It's a very common argument. Just feel like balance of life makes the most sense. I'm not sure why. Okay, so I'll help you out. I'll help you out with by giving you my opinion. Maybe you can see if you can formulate your opinion in contrast to it. But basically, I feel like it's ingrained in us to want justice. Like, an eye for an eye is kind of like how we are used to think about justice. That's my feelings about it. And my general opinion is that it's not rational and it's not a good argument for doing anything. I don't think it's good to base actions off of. I feel like there should be balance. I feel like something is been made out of balance, like something wrong has been done, and we have to punish that. Also, there is a little bit of a like, well, there's two schools of thoughts on how to teach children how to do things, right? One is show them good behavior and reward good behavior, and the other one is punish bad behavior. You know, the problem is, I don't think punishing bad behavior works. Like, it doesn't work to teach anything. It does work in terms of avoiding that behavior in the future. So you think it's just because it's ingrained in our minds, like we've been brainwashed to think that way? Yes. I believe that it's either we're being brainwashed, that it has some sort of like evolutionary reason or whatever, like either it's a natural instinct to want justice, to punish, but that sounds fishy to me, to be honest, because animals don't look like they hold grudges, at least to me, but maybe they do. I do think there must be something about our society that just like, you do something bad, you get punished. After all, that's how we generally, like, technically prisons exist to keep dangerous people who are criminals or whatever from doing whatever the crime is. I had a cat that held a grudge. If you sat in her chair, she was shitting me for the floor. Oh my god. Punishment might work for society as a whole, like with drunk driving. It feels to me like it would be more effective if people actually understand why they shouldn't drive drunk, you know? Generally. Okay, let me put it in a different way. What motivates you more? Wanting to do something and feeling like it's your duty to do something, or not doing it will have repercussions? Like, both can work as motivations. It's like the difference between being motivated and just procrastinating until the deadline. Like, one is just more ideal way to work. Is there somewhere who really don't understand that drunk driving is bad though? I feel like humans have a lot of exceptionalism ingrained in them. Like, I know drunk driving is dangerous, but I know I can handle myself. I think we also have like a bit of like well, we definitely have survivorship bias, right? So like, I never had an accident, so I trust my skills in not getting in one, kinda. You know, there's many problems. These things should be taught in school, by the way, like survivor bias, because they are very problematic. There's so many fallacies that we get through. A lot of people, where I grow up, don't, because their parents do and their family do, they normalized it. Yeah, just like many things are normalized. Like, one thing is knowing things and one thing is believing them, you know? So as I was saying, like, so if you base morality on avoiding pain and suffering as much as possible, obviously it counts as a conclusion that there is no point in punishing anybody unless it prevents more harm in the future, because it's just more pain. You know what I mean? Alcoholism is heavily normalized. We see people saying they need a drink after a long day. They're literally saying they rely on alcohol to relax without even noticing it. Yeah, society is fucked up, dude. But like, alcohol is very big problem. I do truly believe that the idea that anybody deserves anything is very irrational. Like, it's just a feeling, you know? It's what we feel should be done. Like, it's just our sense of morality kind of vibe, you know? And when people say that they want justice to be served, they generally mean, like, they just want to right a wrong. The problem is, you can never do that, right? Like, if someone kills someone, doesn't matter what happens to them. Like, as you said, two wrongs don't make a right, but like, that's intensely true. Like, it doesn't change literally anything if the person who killed them goes to prison or not, in terms of the crime they have committed. What does change is if they have opportunity to commit more crimes, and if more people are harmed in the future. it again changes the society. Imagine if a terrorist or serial killer was put in prison, executed, if he was set free. But the thing is, like, we have to keep in mind, yes, what happens to them, but also like the danger that they pose. So like, yes, killing a murderer does objectively bring about more pain than not killing a murderer, but also letting a murderer go free means you're letting a dangerous person free to do more harm. So there's more things to consider. But in general, do bad people deserve bad things? It's really just a feelings argument. And honestly, I don't see like how you can justify doing harm because it appeases like irrational feelings. Like, people say it's for, like, you know, you put the criminal in prison for the sake of the family that is suffering from the loss. But like, what good does it do to the family? Literally. What good does it do? It's just, we're just appeasing a feeling that they have, which is, you know, understandable. But why does living in a society justify the society harming someone? Might not be justified in a global sense, but how is it justified? Give me an example. How is it justified? Because the only justification I can come up with is it makes it so they don't do it in the future. But as Vashnak said, punishment does not work to teach people things. I mean, the different society have different definition of justice and who deserves what. Okay, what's yours? Like, how does that justify? So it's not a justification. Like, that's not a rational argument. Like, I think it's probably just what our ancestor came up with to solve problems. It's outdated, just like almost every concept still used that's outdated. Well, yes. Pretty much agree with that. Basically, my take is no, bad people don't deserve anything because nobody does. Nobody does deserve anything. Deserving is not a thing. Like, deserving is just a concept that is very strange. It's a social construct. Yes, but saying that it's a social construct, it's like saying it's completely subjective and could change at any time, and that's fine. My take is that deserving as a concept doesn't make sense. No, I feel like, if anything, people just deserve. So because people suffer, and animals do suffer too, I think we owe each other to make us suffer the least amount possible. As a society, that's what a society should do. So in a sense, people deserve basic rights and lack of suffering, just because they can suffer, and suffering is bad. Like, obviously nobody deserves to be murdered, you know? Nobody deserves to be hurt. The things may have no sense for me, but some people it's the other way around. So some people might be wrong. No one thinks the same. I think we generally agree. What if I'm wrong? Who cares? Well, it's easier to be right if you have a solid argument. Hi, Minister, do bad people deserve bad things? Depends, there are degrees of bad. So, less bad people deserve less bad things? What are the degrees of bad? Define your bad on a scale from 0 to 30, yeah. It's also tough because it's all subjective too. See, you know, everything is. But there are some things that are, I'm sorry, I just have an emotional reaction to the sentence of everything is subjective. But I understand, you're correct. It's not, you're not correct. It's just like, okay, so what? Like, we can still make rational arguments for things. To summarize, for some people, some other people deserve some things. Well, yeah. But do you think anybody would take this stance that, like, suffering is good? For example, like, is that subjective? Suffering is good. And yes, don't make the joke about BDSM. I've been over that. I don't have to be correct to you, that's another subjective thing. Yes. But it's still worth talking about. Or else define suffering. Feeling bad. I don't think suffering is something that needs to be defined, by the way. Feel like you knew what I meant. But I can feel bad whenever I want, have no idea if I deserve it. Why would you deserve it? Why would you deserve anything? Is there anything owed to you? No, in nature nothing is. Because nature doesn't have morality. But in society, if society should do anything, it would be ease suffering. Have less suffering. Maybe some people think I deserve it, and that makes it okay, because some people think. So do you think if I started a society, like, would it be good? Like if I set up like a commune with me, Bashnak, and Minister Gold, and we decided like, alright, the 7 is bad because he is. Is that justified? What the fuck can I do with that? Well, okay, maybe you don't have the power to change it, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't. That's right. It will be sad from sometimes, they will pass. You say they have no power over it. Anyway, okay. But like, imagine this. Imagine that you were not subject to a king that decides what morality is. Okay, you're not subject to me, but you actually live in a society. Where you can vote your representatives that write laws. Okay, imagine that. Imagine this amazing concept. What should we base laws on? Alright? How should we shape society? That's the question. We have collective power to change society. We are a little bit powerless because of the elite who control us, but you know. Ideally, we should be able to change society. I think the only things that are subjective are those that depend on you experiencing something from someone else's perspective, but you could argue that perception sometimes falls under that sometimes. We very often have common perception of things. There is a reason why I use suffering, because everybody experiences suffering. Even psychopaths feel pain. For themselves only, and not for other people. So it is kind of a sub-tier suffering to be a little bit snobbish towards psychopaths. But everybody suffers. All animals suffers, and that's why I think they shouldn't. Because suffering is bad, and we know that from experience. I personally wouldn't question the decision of a small group that I was part of. There must be a border of the specific amount of people and deserving changes its meaning. I really do not understand what you're coming from. Are you really telling me if you had no reason, okay, you were falsely accused of murder and 30 people decide that you deserve to die, you wouldn't question it. You wouldn't be like, no, I shouldn't be dying right now. You shouldn't kill me. That's not something you would feel. Depends on who I've killed. What if you haven't killed anybody? What if we just think you have? And we just condemn you to death based on that assumption, of that intuition we have that you killed someone. You're a suspect. You haven't killed them. We collectively decide we don't want to take the risk and we kill you anyways. Like, I feel like you're arguing a little bit too intellectually instead of what you actually would feel. Mostly because I think we question other people and we have opinions on things. We have our own morality. And I think it should be as rational as you can possibly make it. If I didn't kill anyone, then I'm not a bad guy, and of course I don't deserve to die. Sounds like you would question the decision then. So, if you live in a society, if you lived in a society where being gay is legal, and you know there's nothing wrong with being gay because there are other societies where it's acceptable and they condemn you to death for it, are you really telling me you'd be like, yeah, I am a bad guy because this society has decided I am wrong? I think not killing other people is a pretty universal thing. I can only hope that being gay will also become the same for all mankind. However, if there is someone who was a part of a death to all gay society, then they will feel pretty conflicted to be gay. Maybe they will even think that they deserve to die. Okay, but if you hope... Okay, let me think. If you're saying that all justice, all morality is subjective based on the society you are, but also think that eventually all societies should allow gay people to exist, aren't you saying that being gay is morally okay intrinsically? Like, if we progress in a linear manner, we'll get to a place that is more just, in which gay people are allowed to exist everywhere. Aren't you making an absolutist statement and not, you know, a relativist statement about like justice and what people deserve and what's right and not right? Like, yes, he might think that he deserves or he shouldn't be gay or whatever, but he's wrong. That's the whole point. The society is wrong. But how do we measure that? And I think my reasoning is being gay doesn't hurt anyone, you know, or it shouldn't hurt anyone. If there could be societies in which it hurts somebody, I don't know, but like, depends. But like, intrinsically, being gay does not hurt anyone. It's not a harmful action. That's why it's not bad. But that's generalized. It has nothing to do with society. It just means, well, it has to do with society because hurting other people implies other people, which probably implies society. But you know, you're making a statement about what should be. It makes conservatives uncomfortable, yeah, and that's basically like suffering if you think about it. Hey Jared, I personally think we should just stop with the chemicals and finish the Sacred Gale, making everybody gay already. Yup, make the frogs gay specifically, yup. Once everybody is gay, it's very difficult to argue that they're all bad. But it could be, you know, Jared, that's not actually a good argument. Because everybody eats meat, and guess what I think is immoral? Well, no, everybody eats meat, I guess. Being gay could be bad, even if everybody does it. Sorry, Jared. Make the frog gay, though. In that case, I'd say that all societies are currently wrong, because in the future people will view as modern and progressive morals are viewed as barbaric and outdated. You know, you think that. Not future societies. You think that. And you're right. And also, you can have different morality than the society you live in. It's hard, and it requires rational thinking, but it's not impossible. No matter how rational I am and how better my morals are compared to the moral of society, at some point it will be barbaric and outdated. Alright, that's okay. Progress is good. That doesn't mean we shouldn't try to figure it out, though, right? Like, how are modern societies gonna become modern if, like, they only become modern through a process of us thinking about it and deciding what's actually good and moral, right? Through this process, talking about it and thinking about it. And therefore, do bad people deserve bad things? Or is that barbaric and immoral? For me they don't, but for some they do. We can forsake. I don't understand. Well, yeah. One of you two is correct. Like, I'm sorry, I just believe some things are correct and what people think. There can be difference in opinion, but I generally think there is a correct answer. Besides, like, what's your favorite taste of ice cream or whatever. Like, just because there's a difference in opinion doesn't mean that both are correct. And yes, and I am asking your opinion. Like, do bad people deserve bad things in your opinion? Who cares about what other people think? Some people yes, some people no. Yes, if they're harming others regularly and not relenting. No, if it was a mistake and they're showing efforts to redeem themselves and improve. Why do people who are harming others regularly need to be harmed? Or should be, or deserve to be harmed? Okay, isolation is a bad thing. I agree with that. That's a problem, I guess. But if you think about it, it's not the aim of isolation, isn't it? The aim of isolation is to prevent them to do harm. So, if you consider isolating people like a morally neutral thing to do, which it's not, but you should put them. Okay, you can put them in a prison or you can put them in a hotel for the rest of their lives. And both things are same resources, whatever. Which one should you do? One is a comfortable life, and one is like a punitive life that actually actively makes them hurt. Should that person be removed, isolated, and forgotten, merely kept in isolation? No, I don't think that's productive. I think we should still get them to learn how to become better. But if I don't know specifically what that would look like. Okay, what if this is an unredeemable person, okay? Cannot learn. A psychopath. No, not a psychopath. Fuck psychopaths. But like just unredeemable. Cannot comprehend the concepts of not hurting other people. Should we punish them for the rest of their lives? Or should we just isolate them and make them live like the chillest life they can live? Because I feel like instinctually we think, okay, this bad person is gonna... Yes, psychopaths deserve bad things. Hot thing. No, moving on. Psychopaths are just a fun topic. I just joke. But like the yes. But like if this person has the ability to suffer, but he's a bad person. If he's let into society, he will hurt others. You should isolate them, but you shouldn't punish them. And I think, in my opinion, you shouldn't force suffering onto them because of the hurt they have done in the past. Because there is no point to it. It's just pain for the sake of pain. And there is no point to it. But also, the idea of a person who has committed... Isolation is punishment, yes. I agreed. But like, we're talking in a hypothetical situation in which it is not punishment, okay? And it is comfortable. The idea of a person who has harmed others living a chill life, like just a good life, and unable to harm anybody else, but like happy life, I think it goes against something inside most of us. It's like, that's unjust. That shouldn't be the way it is. They should be hurt in some way to reciprocate the hurt they have done. And that's dumb. But it is a feeling that I perceive, I feel, and I feel like it's very prominent. But I think it's dumb. I think it's not rational, and it just brings more suffering into the world. You understand what you mean? I have another point to this. By the way, I have an extra step to this. The reason why I like the question, do bad people deserve bad things, and why I connect it to cancel culture, is because thinking that bad people deserve bad things is kind of why I think people do bad things sometimes. Like, and that's why I said it came to me as a topic while thinking of the hate comments I got from the guys for the Half-Life video, which I agree, it's very self-centered to me. But I was thinking, like, okay, let's make a thought experiment. Why did they send those messages? Because they were strange, right? They weren't making any claims about the video. They weren't making any claims about the argument, of course. They obviously didn't watch the video. So what was the purpose? Okay. And the purpose to leave me like a couple of hate comments. What's the purpose of leaving me hate comments? And it feels punitive. You know what I mean? It feels like it was supposed to be a punishment. Like I did something bad, talked shit about Half-Life or whatever, and therefore I deserve punishment. And leaving hate comments, like saying to your audience, go leave some shitty comments to this stupid ass. You know what I mean? I feel like behind the actions, there's this reasoning of she did something bad, therefore she deserves something bad in return. And if we don't give her bad things in return, she won't get punished for this action because, you know. So she won't even know that she did something wrong, or nobody would notice that she said something wrong, or you know, whatever. So in that way, I feel like the way you justify doing stuff like being hateful online is by telling yourself that the other person did something wrong, and therefore they deserve what you did. You got it? To me, it comes off of being about control sometimes. Yeah. The point I'm trying to make is like this feeling that we want of justice is not rational. Okay. And also, I think it has bad consequences, such as it justifies doing bad things. Like, vengeance is just bad. Punishment for the sake of punishment, I feel like it just comes out of like vengeance. And also there's the argument that it's like to prevent more crimes, you know, because you're scared of the punishment, even though that's not proven not to be true. Like, punishment is stupid. I keep doing this. And I feel like, in a way, stuff like cancel culture is a showing out of this. It's a way to, of course, do something you have control over. So canceling people on Twitter is the only way you can have an effect on these untouchables people's lives. Or you people who you perceive as untouchable. But honestly, lately, I see online so many people who are just spiteful. Like, they're kind of looking for a chance to punish other people for misbehaving, which is like understandable in very often in many circumstances, right? But also, I don't think it's good. Like, I don't think this is like this feeling of justice, of wanting vengeance, of like wanting an eye for an eye, of you having repercussions from your wrong actions. I don't think it's something we should get into. I think it's something about human nature or society or whatever that we should actively fight, because it doesn't bring anything good, because it's not rational. It's not rational, and it only brings suffering.